We will have a question and answer session at the end. So please drop your questions as and when we go and as and when the presentation continues. This session is streamed, so for our listeners who want to revisit the skills, the strategies that will be listed out today, kindly visit our YouTube channel, the Center for Business Analysis, and have that recording. Yes. In the meantime, if you are just joining us for the first time and you don't know of Center for Business Analysis, we are a professional certification body that specializes in providing data analytics, business analysis, cybersecurity, and a wide range of short courses in SQL for data analytics, AI for data analytics, among others. Diving in, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker, who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our discussion for today. He is in the name of Jeremy Gamali Kofi Davo, and he is a business intelligence and data analytics professional with over 7 years of experience spanning data management, operational reporting, database administration, revenue analysis, and performance monitoring. He specializes in transforming complex and fragmented data into clear insight, dashboard, and reports that support informed decision-making and organizational improvements. He has a proficiency in Power BI, SQL, Excel, Power Query, DAX, and Python. Jeremy combines strong technical capabilities with an ability to communicate analytical findings to both technical and non-technical stakeholders. He joins Ashesi University as a business intelligence analyst with the International Effectiveness and Quality Assurance Department, where he contributes to institutional reporting, data-informed planning, performance assessment, and continuous improvement. So without much ado, I'm going to quickly welcome our speaker for today in the name of Jeremy Gamli Kofi Davo. Hi, Sir Jeremy.
Hello, Sylvia. Good
Yes,
afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Kindly take us through.
All right. Thank you for the warm introduction. And I hope we are all having a productive week so far.
Yes.
All right. So we'll go straight into my presentation. And as indicated in the introduction, we are looking at, building a real-world analytics career, which everybody would ascertain to has become a real need for businesses all over within all sectors, all fields, to have data professionals who are able to bring business value to their businesses and organizations, whether it's in performance assessments, whether it's in product marketing, in whatever field, whether healthcare, education, retail, agribusiness, and so on. So today we are going to have what I'll call a practical conversation about how analytics, creates business value and what professionals should expect when building, a solid analytical, career in Ghana and also and beyond. Because I know many people in this webinar are not only looking at Ghana, but also to have, remote jobs where they work as, business analysts, data analysts, all sorts of, analysis that goes on in other industries across the world. So let's move on. I'll share my screen, and please let me know if you can see my presentation or my slides.
Definitely.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. All right.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you very much. So today, as the introduction said, we are going to look at, the skills, the business value, and then the practical realities beyond the dashboard. In most often, you realize people, when they say data analytics, all they think about is building a dashboard, having charts and then figures, displayed on a page, which is showing maybe a trend or maybe doing comparative analysis. And then that is the end of it. But today, what I want us to know is that, or have a discussion about, is that realistically, building a dashboard is just one of the stops, or one of the junctions which you get to in really providing what we call business value. The dashboard is a tool which enables you to derive insights from data. Okay, so the dashboard is a communication tool. At the end of the day, the dashboard is not the destination for any data analytical project, which is to bring any business the value that they are asking for. So today we are going to look at 4 things, right? A practical path from curiosity to capability to business impact. Now, the 4 things we are coming to look at is 1, why analytics matter now, which will look at the gap between collecting data and making better decisions. And then we'll look at how CBA has shaped my journey, from tool-focused learning to business question thinking. Then we'll look at what the work really looks like, apart from the pomp and pageantry we see on social media, on LinkedIn. We'll look at what really goes into the work of data analysis in terms of data quality, stakeholder engagement, definitions, KPI definitions, reports, and the decisions that data analytical work is supposed to support. Then the 4th thing we'll look at is how to build your path. Many of us on this webinar are looking at how to either transition from our role into a data analytics focused role or any data role possible. And one of the things is to look at the skills, to understand the different roles that we have within the data analytics space and the realistic expectations that we are supposed to look out for. So the first question I'll ask is, in your organization, what sort of important decisions do you see being made with inconsistent, delayed, or disputed data? We know that in many organizations, we will have data sitting at one point where you have different departments who perform different functions and are supposed to deliver on different goals and set targets. You realize that every department has their source of evidence, which they are always going to churn out to be able to support the evidence with which they want to communicate. So you realize that every organization is full of data. Every organization within every space is full of data, but you realize that sometimes decisions are still uncertain. Decisions raise disputes, and then a lot of people are not on the same page within the single organization. So as a data analyst, your opportunity for impact and to bring business value is the space between, what the business is asking for. What value is the business asking for? What are their pain points? What are the things what are the solutions that they want? And as an analyst, being able or able to solve their pain point. So as a data analyst, this is the space in which you thrive. Being able to, provide any organization with the right source of information for them to be able to make better decisions. Okay. So let's just think about this question. What important decision does your organization currently make with incomplete, delayed, or disputed data? Whether you work in sales, you work in the banking, fintech, you work in the public sector, you work in the educational sector, healthcare, there's always a decision that is being made. So just think about it, and then we'll revisit that at the end of the presentation. So my journey from reports to decision support. My journey, really, fortunately for me, I started with data management, because coming from university and building early projects in my time in the university, I really focused, or I got in love with, working with data. So in my first role, I started as a programmer, and then slowly moved into a more data-focused role, where I managed, data from point of collection, from processing to, the data being stored, to the point of the data being used in reporting, in any form of analysis, and then looking at how that data is to be used effectively, to drive decision making. So along the path, of course, I took a couple of, data analytics, courses along the path to better, inform my decision as to the space I was entering to. And one of the decisions I made was to join CBA, because I wanted a bit of structure, to my learning path, and a bit of guidance, so that I don't veer off, the path, and be able to be guided properly. I know a lot of us want to enter into the field of data analytics, and one of the benefits that you have in joining an institution like CBA, which is an internationally credited, body to provide such credible, education, is that it gives you structure, in your learning path, able to make you think beyond what you are coming with, or whatever background you are coming with. So after joining CBA, in my business intelligence analytics practice, coming from data management and reporting, how to better make more intuitive and more, grounded decision making, and to provide better insight to support whatever analytical project that I'm given. So decision making, leadership insight is very critical, because at the end of the day, your dashboard or whatever analytical report you have to give has to drive decision making, or has to inform decision making, or support it in one way or the other. That is the value you bring to the table. So CBA helped me, connect, the technical side of analytics, which we'll look at, to better asking more, informed business questions, and then, managing stakeholder expectations when it comes to reporting, and also supporting better decision making. So the shift away from simply learning the tools to, turning on certain business questions into structured evidence. Because it's one thing to know the tools, but it is another thing altogether to be able to use those tools to perform very thorough and detailed data analytics, for better decision making. Okay. So that's my path in a nutshell. Now, what CBA changed in my thinking? before, I always start with a tool. So I need this report. Okay. Then immediately I open a tool. Maybe I open Excel, which mostly was my tool of preference. I open Excel before I begin to understand the kind of decision that my analysis is supposed to, support. So joining CBA, there was a shift. The shift is to better understand the decision that is being made, because that's very, very critical. If you understand the decision that is being made, you are able to source the right evidence. That's the tools that is needed. The right evidence, which is the data that is needed to support that decision. Okay. So once you have that locked down, then you are able to know, okay, which is the right tool for me to use in performing this analytical, project. Because one thing to know is they always say the right tool for the right job. You don't want to spend 30 minutes or an hour or even a day using the wrong tool, either Excel, Power BI, SQL, and realizing that that tool will not suffice or it's not the right tool for what you want to do. So it's better to understand the decision that is being made or the decision that needs to be supported, and then the evidence or the data that you need to be able to support that what we are going to do. And then the tool comes next. Okay. So you start with a decision, you define the evidence that is needed. Then the practical shift. At the end of the day, a good data analyst, you are not only there or being hired to build a dashboard. No. The dashboard is not the final deliverable for your role. Your final deliverable is being able to be a decision partner, to be able to make sure that your insights from your analysis is able to inform better decision making. That is the role of a data analyst. Because imagine building a dashboard that nobody understands or nobody can interpret. Then your work has no impact. Your work brings no value. So the end game is for better decision making that brings impact to any organization you work for. So let's look at the data to decision chain. This is where business value is created. Okay. Now, many beginners make the mistake of jumping straight from the data source to a dashboard or either to whatever visualization that they want to build. But actually, the real skill is at the beginning of the whole chain, which is what decision is the organization or stakeholders or management looking to make? What decision are they looking to make? So you asking the right questions, you engaging stakeholders on their pain points to be able to deduce what exactly it is they want goes a long way in informing what kind of data you need to support the kind of decisions they are looking to make. So if you don't ask better questions, one, you are ill-informed as to what steps to take. You are going to go on a long journey of building a data solution or a report or whatever it is that totally deviates from what stakeholders or the business needs to make the decision they are looking to make. And then time is wasted, days go by, and then the decision is delayed. And it's always a decision delayed, always remember, is always going to cost the business because it's time, it's money. Okay. So asking the right business questions is the first step. Now, after you've asked the right business questions to know exactly what management or stakeholders need, now it is time for you to source your data, to gather the evidence needed to support your analysis. Okay, so where is the data stored? How do you get it? Who is in charge of that data? All comes into play. Then we move on to data quality. Can we trust the data that we have? What judgment are you using to make this decision? You know, how is the data being given? In what shape is it? Are we having validation issues, consistency issues, in terms of missing values, formats, inconsistent formats with dates, with maybe categorizations, or everything goes into being able to judge if a data is right for analysis or not. If you use the wrong data to support whatever evidence you need to generate, remember the decision making will be totally off, right? And a wrong decision at the end of the day is going to cost the business big time. So you have to make sure that the kind of data that you are sourcing is of the highest quality. If it is not, you have to now go into data quality actions where you correct a lot of indiscrepancies and inconsistencies in your data. Then after you are done, you move on to the analysis. What patterns explain what you are looking for? Are they patterns that are consistent? If they are not consistent, how do you verify that analysis? All right. So whether you are doing trend analysis, comparative analysis, and root cause analysis, whatever analysis you are doing, right? What are the patterns explaining? What are the patterns explaining? Then it comes to your insight. What does it mean? What does your analysis mean? Okay. Does it mean we are making more money? Does it mean revenue is going up? Does it mean we are losing money with respect to a specific product? Does it mean we are having shortfalls in our product inventory, so it is affecting, sales? Whatever insights, you have to make sure that you bring it to the fore, so that everybody knows what it means. You can't only say we are making money or our revenue is up. That is very vague. You have to support it with context. You have to support it with evidence. Okay, by how much percentage? By how much when it comes to monetary value? All right. Within what time of the year did we experience that? All right. So what does your insights mean to the business? Then the decision. What should be done next? Every business or every organization at the end of every analysis is asking the question, so what? So what should we do? All right. So your insights should be able to generate recommendations to the business as to what they have to do next, or inform business leaders, stakeholders as to what they have to do next. All right. If that is not available, then your analysis does not satisfy the decision that is supposed to be made. Okay. So you realize that I say this, the real skill is knowing what decision the analysis must support and whether the evidence is reliable enough to support it. Okay, so your judgment is very key. Asking the right questions, employing the right judgment, making sure that your data is reliable, making sure that your analysis is right, your insights generated supports the decision that's supposed to be made. Okay. Then we'll look at what analytics work really looks like. So beyond the dashboard reality, everybody turns out a dashboard and thinks they are done. No, they are not done. You are not done when you bring out a dashboard or a report. No. So the first thing you have to recognize that in reality, one, you have to clarify every request that you receive from a stakeholder. Stakeholders may describe symptoms and not the real problem. As a data analyst, as a business analyst, as a business data analyst, your job is to diagnose whatever request they are giving or making, and identifying the right issue or the right problem that it is that they want you to solve. You know, most analytical requests are very vague. You know, is revenue increasing? You have to ask the right question. Are we looking at a specific period? Are we looking at it with respect to a product category, geographical location? What sort of demographic are you looking to, you know, gauge if our revenue is increasing or not? You understand? What is the target that we are measuring our revenue increase? So you have to be able to make a better diagnosis of what symptoms they brought to you to understand the real issue they want you to solve. Now, find and understand data. Now, the reality is data may not always sit at a central point where you go and get it. Sometimes it might be in spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets. Data might be in systems that are, you know, decentralized all over the place. Every department will have one system or the other that houses data. Data might be sent through emails. You understand? All sorts of formats, hard copy, soft copy. It might even come in pictures. So you have to find a way of understanding the kind of data you are receiving. Then the third is to clean and reconcile. Data definitions, date formats, duplicates, missing values. How you handle them goes a long way in the quality of data that you have for your analysis. All right. When it comes to definitions, you have to make sure that how revenue is calculated, how KPIs are calculated by different departments, so that everybody is on the same page when every analytical project comes to an end. So you don't have confusion where the sales manager says, this is not how I calculate it. Marketing is saying a different thing. You understand? Product manager is also saying a different thing. You understand? Finance, everybody has a different definition. You have to make sure that definitions are standard across board, so everybody understands that what is being churned out is the right thing. Then you come to analyze and explain. The analyst turns patterns into a business explanation. That is very, very important. It's not an analytical, a technical explanation, but a business explanation. Because one thing is you'll be dealing with people who are not technical. People who don't understand how their revenue is calculated. All they need is a number, and to know whether the number is going up or down. So you have to put every analysis in a business context for your stakeholders or leadership or whoever you are presenting to be able to understand it. All right. And your communication, insight matters when it supports a decision. So always your insight must support a decision. Your insight must always support a decision. After your analysis, ask yourself, how is my analysis supporting the decision that is supposed to be made? Because that is the end goal of every analysis. How your insight, your recommendations is going to support the decision that is being made. All right. So let's look at a real case scenario. So this real case scenario, we are looking at a revenue and operational reporting, you know, and it says why numbers did not agree. So this is the situation which many of us will face, and I face the same. You know, management needed reliable revenue, operational performance reporting. Different reports produced different figures, and preparation was highly manual. And it happens all the time. Where you are working with people from different departments who have their own set of data, you know, doing their own set of calculations, have their own definitions as to what numbers mean, what the data mean, everything. You realize that at the end of the day, when everybody is bringing their report, nothing is streamlined. Everybody has their own figures. So it is up to you, the analyst, to reduce the confusion, to build trust, you know, and to support action. So reducing the confusion deals with, one, clarify definitions. Make sure everybody understands what revenue means, what return on investment calculation means, what things like profit margin means, when we are calculating variances, what it means. Every term that they use, everybody has to understand that every term is the definition we are using. How, so as the analyst, the extraction of data from systems, okay, speaking to data owners, departmental heads, how to source the right data or how to request for the right data, then validating totals, then investigating duplicates, standardized dates and categories. Everybody, how they categorize whatever data they receive to make sure that everything is streamlined, and building usable reporting output. It will be a disappointment for an analyst to build a report that nobody uses. That is a very huge disappointment. That after days or hours of cleaning data, validating and everything, and then you build a report and nobody uses it. So a report must be usable. Always think of the end user who is going to use the report. As a data analyst, know that the report you are building is not for you. The report you are building is for an end user, is for a stakeholder, is for a business leader. And that person might not be technical. So always look at building your report from the point of the person going to use it, and build it so that it fits the person's use case. All right. Now, what is the lesson we can learn? The difficult part is not choosing the visual. It is proving what the figures meant, whether they could be trusted, and what decision they supported. So you realize that your visualization is not what determines the decision that is supposed to be made. Can they trust your figures? All right. What do the figures mean to them? And does your figures or your insights support the decision they are supposed to make? I say the real value comes when the report reduces confusion, builds trust, and supports decision making. That is the reality of a data analyst. That is the reality of a data analyst. Now we go to the analytical space, and then we use Ghana as our point of reference. In Ghana, currently, opportunities are growing. Opportunities are growing. Already, other organizations have taken, the lead in this field, in deploying analytical solutions within their organizations. Some are catching up. One thing about the analytical market in Ghana is that it is growing and at a fast pace. And CBA and the courses that they offer gives us an insight into how this field is growing. It's at a fast pace. People are looking for data analysts. They are looking for data professionals, people who can bring value not only to the organization, to the internal teams. All right. So it is growing at a fast pace. But the reality is that not every organization is mature when it comes to things like digital transformation. All right. Not every organization is mature. Most organizations are matured in how they source data, in how they keep data and how they use it. They have protocols, they have regulations that goes a long way in making sure that the right things are being done. Some organizations are also now catching up. So if you look at the slide, we have banking and fintech, we have telcos and mobile money. And you realize that these spaces, because of stringent policies and government regulation, these sectors or spaces have very stringent way of how they use data when it comes to customer data, customer transactions, and all that, and they go a long way in making sure that whatever data they have is secure and is being used appropriately. Now we have education, we have healthcare, we have retail and SMEs, we have public sector, and in the public sector, we also have monitoring and evaluation, spaces. We have agribusiness, and we have logistics. So in all these areas, opportunities are growing. Even in the public sector now, governments are rolling out systems that are streamlining and consolidating operations across MMDAs, across government organizations, to be able to track their performance, able to track their spending, their budget allocations, and how they release money, for government projects and all that. So if you look at the space is really growing, and there's opportunity for data professionals to really take advantage of, the job roles that are coming up in these spaces. In education, we know, in healthcare, it's the same, in logistics. So data analytics, if you're looking at it as a career path, you are on the right path. You are on the right path. Now, this slide is very important because a lot of people are looking for roles that's a data analyst. But the reality is that data analyst is not one job. It's not one job. And I say, choose a path that matches your strength and context. Now, in this slide, you see a lot of roles. All these roles employ data analysis. Whether you're a reporting analyst, you're a business intelligence analyst, you're a data analyst at core, you're a business data analyst, you're operations analyst, monitoring evaluation or program analyst, data quality analyst, you're a data scientist. All these roles employ data analytics fundamentals, technologies and procedures and all the things that a data analyst will do. So in your current role, what do you do with data? Are you in finance? Are you in logistics? Are you in operations? Are you in healthcare, education? Are you even in the public sector? All these sectors use data. All right. So you waiting for a role that says data analyst before you apply, you are doing yourself a great disservice, because you can employ your skills as a reporting analyst, as an operations analyst, someone who works in operations. You work for a manufacturing company, you work for a supply chain, you work in a pharmaceutical organization, healthcare. All of them, you are able to perform data analysis to bring value to whatever organization you work for. All right. So the career advice is, do not say, I want a data job. You have to define your target role and build evidence for that role. If you want a data job, what kind of data job do you want? And these are some of the options that we have. We have healthcare analysts, we have validation analysts, and the list goes on and on. If you go on the internet, you have a plethora of roles that data analytics is at the core of that role. All right. So you have to define exactly what you want, what kind of role that you want for your as a data analyst, what kind of role that you want. Now, the real world analytics skills stack. Now, we say technical skills are necessary, but they are not sufficient. Why do we say that? Technical skills enable you to undertake a task. All right. So as a data analyst, your technical skills, your Excel skills, Power BI, your SQL skills, whatever tool you are using, enables you to do your job. But that is only one aspect of it. Because as a data analyst, you realize that, one, you have to ask the right business questions to be able to know what exactly it is stakeholders or business leaders are looking or want you to do. All right. So you have business thinking. It includes how to frame a problem correctly, how to identify key performance indicators, process understanding. Do you understand how the business works? The kind of processes they undertake, who undertakes that process, how to perform root cause analysis. So your business thinking is key. After that, then we have the technical skills. So the technical skills comes as one aspect of the analytical skill stack. So how well you deploy your tools, the right tool for the right job. Are you going to use Excel for analysis? Are you going to use Power BI for analysis? Or are you going to use SQL? At what point are you going to deploy those tools? All right. So the skills are very necessary, but they won't be sufficient. Then the next thing is your communication. That is very key. Because if you're not able to communicate the insights from your analysis or the results from your analysis properly for people to understand, then at the end of the day, we will say you've done a course 90 job, then you've done nothing. Because how would they understand what you have done if you're not able to communicate it properly? And your communication is very key in driving decision making. All right. So when it comes to how your requirements were gathered, data storytelling, how you are going to use your technical tools, if it's visualization, how you are going to use your Power BI to visualize your data, the kind of charts you are using, all right, to communicate your data, all goes a long way in better making your stakeholders understand what is going on with your data, how you engage stakeholders, all right. Along the analytical path, stakeholders are important along the way in framing your problems better, and also going a long way to also trying to, better understand the analysis you are supposed to perform. All right. Then we come to professional discipline. Now, professional discipline, I've outlined data quality, documentation, ethics and privacy, and governance mindsets. All right. How you handle data quality, your documentation also matters so that people can trace your work. Ethics and privacy. Are you releasing data to people who are not supposed to see the data in your organization? Governance issues, how the data is being used. All right. So what makes an analyst trusted? One, clarity. You understanding the business question. Two, reliability. Your figures, can they be traced? Can they be explained? Your judgment. Know when the data is not good enough. That's very important. You can't gather the wrong evidence to support a decision that's supposed to be made. At the end of the day, they are going to make the wrong decisions because you gathered the wrong evidence. So your judgment in determining if the data is right for analysis, if it is not. If it is not, how do you communicate that to your stakeholders for them to understand the limitations with which the data you have at hand is going to have, or the impact that data is having on your analysis? Actionability. Your insights, does it point to practical next steps, or they just leave your stakeholders stranded with the decision they are supposed to make? So these are the four pillars that makes an analyst trusted. Now, let's take a realistic career roadmap. So the realistic career roadmap here is building capacity in layers. All right. So you have to be very structured in your approach if you want to enter into data analytics. All right. So here we have days. I've grouped them in days. So the first thing is to understand the field, learn the roles. All right. What role do you want to go into? What kind of business questions? What kind of business questions does that role, is mostly asked in that role? All right. So you have to understand the role that you want to go into and the kind of things that go to make an analyst trusted in that role. All right. So you also build your foundations there, and then you also build visualization basics. Now, 31 to 90 days, we have building the core stack. So that's where you learn the tools that is needed to undertake your analysis, whether you are using SQL, Power BI, Excel, whatever it means, how to document your analysis. All right. That's your core stack. Okay. Now, 91 to 180 days after you learned your core stack is now to create a proof of ability. What projects have you been able to build with the tools you've learned? Is it SQL, Power BI? What sort of projects have you been able to build? All right. And what kind of industries have you built that project for? Okay, if it is hospitality, what kind of projects have you built for hospitality? If it's in education, fintech, whatever, you have to build a project to demonstrate the kind of skills you have for the role you want to go into. Because one thing is that hiring managers who are hiring for roles will ask you specific questions for that role and will also want evidence to show that you are able to perform data analytics in that role with respect to that particular field or that industry you are going into. So your portfolio should also mirror the kind of role you are going into, and your project should speak to them. And then with beyond 180 days, specialize with purpose. So what's a BI operation, whatever role you want to go into, you have to specialize with purpose. All right. Now we go to how to build a portfolio that speaks business. That's a portfolio that shows that you are ready. A portfolio that shows that you are able to employ business thinking, business reasoning, your domain knowledge to the kind of role that you are bringing. So one, business question. What decision is the project supporting? So for the project, your project shouldn't be vague. It should support a particular business decision within a particular sector or a particular field. Data preparation. How did you sort your data? How did you clean the data? How did you validate the data? How did you transform it? Then you come to your analysis. What patterns did you find? And how did you test the patterns? Did you do a comparative analysis, a trend analysis? Did you use pie charts, graphs? Why did you use them? All informs the kind of analysis you did and why you did them. Then your insights. What evidence does your analysis mean to the business? Does it mean they are making money? Does it mean they are losing money? Does it mean a particular product is bringing in more revenue than the other? Does it mean a particular, supply chain route is, costing more time or not? Does it mean, our inventory management, is not up to speed? So we have to better look at that space. Then the recommendations. What action should we take next? That's very, very important. After your insights, recommendations is key. What to do next? All right? Because your analysis has to guide the business in what to do next by providing solid and accurate recommendations supported by evidence. Then your limitations, that is very key. Data, every data that you have will always have some limitations in one way or the other. And communicating that limitations to stakeholders is very key. So they are careful about the kind of decisions they are making. All right. So if you realize there are limitations in your data, you have to communicate it to the stakeholders so they know that the decisions they are going to make will have some impact on the business, whether directly or indirectly. Okay. Then the 6 realities beginners are rarely told. As a beginner, know that one, stakeholders may not know exactly what they need. They will give vague requests, and it is up to you to deduce the symptoms and come out with the right problem or the real problem they need you to solve. So be ready that stakeholders will ask you very vague questions or very vague requests. 2, data often is messy. It's incomplete, it's duplicated. And that is the reality. Data will not come with very, very curated columns and everything, formats and everything. Sometimes data is very messy. It's spread across different systems. You have to see different people for pieces of information and consolidating them. Definitions can differ across departments. And we mentioned that every department will have the understanding of how every total, every column is calculated. You have to make sure that all those things are streamlined so that everybody is on board as to how calculations or figures, are churned out so that you can support them with clarity and with confidence. Then the second thing is simple trusted analysis often beats complex models. People think building complex models, building complex visualizations is what businesses need. No, they need something simple. Sometimes it can just be one table or just one pie chart or one column chart or maybe one trend analysis. Once it satisfies the decision they are supposed to make and be able to provide the right direction for them to take, that is the right thing to do rather than building a very complex model or visualization nobody understands. One. And then the next thing is dashboards do not automatically change behavior. A dashboard is a visualization tool. It only shows your insights, but it doesn't change behavior. The behavior is based on the recommendations that you are able to make in order to satisfy the business decision they want to take. So your dashboard, at the end of the day, you have to be able to interpret the dashboard to your stakeholders for them to understand it. Then the last thing, which is very important, is AI helps workflow, but judgment remains human. We are hearing about how AI is going to take over data analysis, going to take over every workspace. One thing you have to realize is that AI can amplify the wrong decisions very quickly. And it is up to the human within the chain to be able to validate, to be clarify what AI does. If whatever insight AI is bringing is wrong, you can't channel that insight to your stakeholders. Okay, the wrong insight is going to cost the business. As a human, if you're employing AI, make sure that you are in the driving seat. You are driving AI. You know the context in which you want your analysis to be done in, the kind of recommendations you are looking to make, and then being able to navigate using AI to better make, the right decisions. Okay, so AI won't come for our jobs. AI will not take control. At the end of the day, you, the human with the business understanding, with the domain knowledge, you are at a much better advantage of directing data analytics projects in every organization. Then the next slide, I say tools will change, but the value of better decision will not. Okay, as a data analyst, do not aim only to become someone who knows Power BI, Excel, SQL, Python. Aim to become someone who can enter an unclear business situation, ask the right questions, work responsibly with data, and then help people make the right decisions. Tools will change. Today we are using Power BI. Tomorrow we might be using a different tool. Today we are using SQL. In a few years, SQL will not be sufficient for what we are to do. A different tool will come. Excel, Python. Every tool that comes, know that at the long run, a different tool comes. Somebody will say, "Oh, I'm using this tool. This tool is better than this. This tool is." At the end of the day, as a data analyst, your real power and advantage is to be able to enter any business situation, ask the right questions, source the right data, work responsibly with it, and be able to drive better decision making. All right. So we have question, validate, analyze, explain, and then influence. That is the role of a data analyst. At the end of every analytical initiative is for your analysis to influence better decision making. And that is the value that a data analyst brings to every organization. All right. So we'll move on to our Q&A. My presentation has come to an end. And to Sylvia, any question you want to ask, I'm ready to, answer the question to the best of my abilities. So, Sylvia, over to you.
Okay, Jeremy, thank you very much for giving us this wonderful insight in talking to us more on how CBN has impacted your life and your career structure, giving us more bits on how structures work more in data analytics. So we are moving to the question and answer session, and kindly put in your questions in the question box or the comment section, or if you have questions, kindly raise your hand as we continue, and then I'll give you a call and you can ask your question. Mr. Jeremy is here to answer us. So before we continue, Mr. Jeremy, I would like to ask.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yes. So, many people associate data analytics with numbers and tools, but how would you explain the value of analytics to a business leader who is not technical?
Okay, so thank you for the question. A business leader who is not technical, one of the things that will help a data analyst in bringing value to any analytics is being able to put your analysis in context. So a technical leader who is in finance, who wants analysis done on maybe customer retention or whatever it is, the value of a data analyst is to be able to put whatever analysis that you do in context for the non-technical business leader to understand. If you churn out numbers and technical tools, the person will not, once the person is not technical, the person will not understand what you mean. But if you are able to, explain it within the space of finance, which the business leader already, is conversant with in terms of terminology, the words you use, then he's able to understand it. And context here, context means providing much information for the person to know, okay, if revenue is increasing, how is it increasing? Okay.
Yes.
You have to also ask the person, how does the person want the final deliverable to be made? So if the person is expecting a report, if the person is expecting maybe something in the form of a memo, you have to know how to write your insights or frame your insights so that it is easy for the person to understand, devoid of technical jargons and calculations and all that. Okay. So for a business leader who is not technical, make sure that context is very, very key, because that will better inform or for him to be able to place the analysis within his domain. So that is how I would ask anybody looking at data analysis as just numbers and technical tools. Make sure context is very, very key. Thank you.
Okay. Well noted, Jeremy. And let me ask my second question, and then I'll give the audience also the permission to ask their questions as well. So for aspiring analysts, you mentioned that you have proficiency with SQL. So for aspiring analysts who are intimidated by SQL, what advice would you give them? And also, can you share a practical example of how SQL has helped you to solve a real business problem?
Okay, thank you for the question. With every tool that you are learning, if you are new to the tool, of course, it's going to be intimidating, and that's natural. Okay. It's very natural to be intimidated by something you've not tried or used before. But always what I advise people is always start from the fundamentals. Start small and then build on it. Okay. So when it comes to SQL, start at the foundation, writing simple select statements. If you are not able to do that on the job, or your job role doesn't give you the ability to do that, you can do that on your own. Getting a data set from online, you have a lot of places where you can get, data sets, free data sets for you to work with. We have Kaggle and we have other data repositories online you can get data from. It's very small. Okay. And then anytime you make a mistake, don't end there or don't give up. Mistakes are part of the learning process. Okay. It shows you that you are on the right path. So anytime you make a mistake, just go back, look at what you did that caused the mistake, and then correct it and then build on it. From my experience, I started using databases very early in my career. And I had skills already, but as time went on and as, reporting went, the level of reporting got higher, I had to make sure that, I really improved on my skills to be able to deliver the kind of the reporting that management needed. So I had to elevate my game from knowing, from basic to intermediate to be able to write quite complex, queries when it comes to SQL. And it didn't start from just my first day. Okay, it didn't start from my first day. I had to learn for myself also, and that is very, very important. SQL levels to it, and don't follow people on the internet. There are people who are already masters of it who churn out very complex queries. Just as they are churning out complex queries, know that those experts also started at the point where you are starting. They knew nothing. They couldn't write a single line, but they also started small. Our advocate is SQL, yes, can be intimidating, but it's a tool you can learn. Just start with the fundamentals, with the basics, and then build on it. Don't start big. It can be intimidating and it can be discouraging. Just start small with the basics, writing select statements, improving with where clauses and simple joins and everything, and time with practice, with constant practice, you will also improve. And before you know it, you're also an expert. So that's what I'll say about, aspiring analysts who are intimidated with SQL.
Okay, Jeremy, thank you very much. So we have to take 3 questions from the open mic and also from the chat. We have 1 question. So Mr. Jeremy, from the chat, Emmanuel says, aside enrolling with CBA, are there any resources you can point us to for structured learning or guidance?
Oh, yes. So, of course, there are a plethora of resources online that are available for aspiring, data analyst or someone looking to enter into the space of data analytics. There's Google, that is a data analytics course. There's IBM also that offers a data analytics course. There are places like DataCamp, Udemy, and a whole lot. If you Google data analytics courses, you have a plethora of resources, plethora of online platforms that are offering that. There are also those that are offering courses, for free. Okay, but one thing you have to recognize is that most of these courses, right, they won't give you everything. Sometimes they leave it to your discretion as to how you want to do it at your own pace and all the lot. My advice is always go for a structured learning process where the learning takes place within a specific period of time. When that happens, you are able to better anchor yourself, structure your work-life balance around what you want to do. Many of us are professionals, okay? Whether it's online, whether it's in person, okay? Make sure that you have a very structured learning process, because where there's structure, you are able to measure your progress and advancement. Where you are falling off, you are able to, build up in that area. So don't leave it just for yourself when you want to do it and when you don't want to do it. When you have structure, that is very, very important. And that's one thing CBA gave me, structure. I knew that every Saturday I was going I was going to do this. I was going to do that. I have an assignment to do. It gives you a very clear understanding and direction as to where you want to go. So thank you.
Okay, Emmanuel, hope you have been answered. So we are taking open mic. So we have 3 open mics. So we are taking our first open mic from Emma. Emma, kindly ask your question if you are ready.
Okay, thank you. My question is, will there ever be a period where you feel ready as an analyst, like as a beginner? Would there ever be a time like that where you feel like, now I'm ready, I have to step out, or you step out along the way? Thank you.
Okay, Emma. I think your question is one of the realities of an aspiring analyst. You know, when you are ready. And the truth is you'll never be ready. That's the truth. But what I'll advocate is, with as little as you know, whatever you know, just make sure that you are able to demonstrate your capabilities, your analytical reasoning. You are able to, even if it's just a small project you are able to build, you are able to build that project, explain your thought process, all right? Because in the analytical space, as I said, things are changing all the time. And if you are ready, you are always waiting to catch up, you will never catch up. So what I'll say is that don't wait to be ready, learn the fundamentals, apply them, build on your mindset, all right? And apply for jobs. You'll be surprised as to how, you'll be able to accomplish much just by taking the step, that bold step, all right? If you are waiting to be ready, you'll never be ready. Because even me sitting here, trust me, there are things that I'm seeing now that if I was waiting to be ready last year, I will not be ready. Because tools have changed, things have come that are really changing the space. So if you say you are waiting to be ready, well, my advice is just apply, be ready, learn the fundamentals, be able to demonstrate your skills, and just take that bold step. So that's what I'll say, Emma.
All right, thank you. I'm grateful.
Yes, so with the thoughts from Jeremy says that we should take a bold step, and then also that CBA gave a structure. So with this, I would like to say that our 40th cohort for data analytics is starting on the 3rd of October, while our SQL cohort also begins on 3rd August. So to join us and to take a bold step into your analytics world or career growth, join us by contacting us on 0246809200 or visit our website on www.centerforanalytics.com. You can also walk into our office and we can have a quick chat while we welcome you into our cohorts as well. We are at East Legon, at just near the ANC Mall, around the Marco building, and we will attend to you as well. Moving on, we are taking our next question from Mark. Mark, please, if you can hear me, kindly ask your question. Is Mark around?
Yeah, I'm around. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, thank you for the presentation. Would you be able to send us the recorded version of it and the slide as well, as I'm interested to enroll in the 3rd of this. So I'm asking if it's possible that you could send us the slides and the presentation you just delivered.
Definitely, Mark. Definitely, Mark. So we are also streaming on our YouTube channel. That's the Center for Business Analysis. So we will share with you the recordings, but also kindly use that as well. Move to our YouTube channel, that's Center for Business Analysis. That so you can be able to get the recordings there also. Thank you, Mark.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
So our last question from Falila. Falila, please, are you here with us? Hi, Falila, can you hear me? Okay, so it seems Falila is not with us now. So there's a question from the chat section, and that'll be the last. And it says, what internship opportunities are there after the training? So we have a partnership with other companies where if we are done with the training, as and when there are opportunities for job, then we give the flyers and everything. We make sure our participants are also able to get the jobs as well. So for that, that's what I would have to say about that. So we have the partnership with the other companies where if there are opportunities like this, that the internship job opportunities, we push our participants also to that side. I mean, we have done that for some number of people from the former cohorts, and honestly, they are working and then they are taking their money now. Yes. So thank you all for joining. So while I wrap up today's session, I'm going to leave you with a thought that your data is already telling a story, but do you have the skills to understand it? So start learning today and let your data guide your decisions tomorrow. Like Jeremy said, start now. Start now. Our next cohort, once again, for data analytics begins on the 3rd of October, and that's our 40th cohort, while our SQL cohort begins on the 3rd of August. We are welcoming you all to join our cohorts with open hands. So to join us, you have to kindly contact us on 024 680 9200 or visit our website on www.centerforanalytics.com. You can also walk into our office in person at East Legon, 17 Garden Road, near the A&T Mall next to the Mawako building. And we will give you all the information you need and into the program. Kindly follow our WhatsApp channel also. The channel link will be sent to the chat section, and kindly tap on it so you are able to follow us on our WhatsApp channel. So my last and final word for us: learning the language of data is a decision you make today. So make confident and evidence decision so as to see a result tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you. Thank you also. Thank you to our speaker, Jeremy Gameli Kofi Davo, and to everyone for joining us today. And
okay, so before Sylvia leaves, just to chip in this, the person who asked if we have internship opportunities, of course we do. And it's just an add-on that we have a partnership with a UK-based company, which is called Capital Placement. And so they have a couple of internships, both remotely and on-site. And so if you would want to go to the UK, the US, Singapore, Australia, to take your internship, it is a paid internship. You pay something small for Capital Placement, and then the internship that you are also going to take, they are also going to pay you. So if you want to be on-site, like moving from Ghana to the UK, the US, Singapore, and other countries to have your internship, that arrangement can be done. If you also want to have those internships, because most of their internships are outside the country. And so you can also be here in Ghana and then take the internship remotely, and that you would also be paid for that. So we have a couple of those internships. Also, to let you know that once you also enroll with the Center for Business Analysis, we have traveling opportunities and all that. We are going for our maiden educational tour in the UK. And this time around, we opened it up to the public. But from next year, it is going to be strictly alumni based. And so if you are not an alumni, you can't join us to external or outside educational tour. And so that is also one thing that when you join the Center for Business Analysis, one benefit that you are also going to get. And so please, let's take note of that. This year, we are going to UK. The Bayes Business School is going to have an educational workshop for us. We are going to have some industry tours and all that. And then we have some sightseeing. It's just a 2-week tour, and then we come back to Ghana. And so these are some of the benefits that you derive when you join the Center for Business Analysis. And so please come on board. We welcome you to our next cohort for business analysis is on the 29th of August. Registration is ongoing. Our next cohort for data analytics is on the 3rd of October. Registration is also open. And then we also have some short courses. We have SQL for data analytics, and that is also coming up on the 3rd of August. And so please, if you haven't signed up for any of our courses, please don't hesitate to contact us on 0248 0246 809-200, 0246 809-200, or you visit our website www.centerforanalytics.com, click on the apply button, and please register. We hope to see you in class soon. Sorry for taking about 20 minutes of your time. It's unlike us, but then the session was a bit interactive, and so it dragged a little. And so thank you very much for having us. Sylvia, if you don't have any other thing to say, thank you very much. And we hope to see you in class in our next cohort. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Na. Thank you, Ms. Na. So thank you all for joining today's session, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session as well. Thank you to our speaker, Jeremy Gamli Kofi Davo, also. I am Sylvia Haywood, and I was your host for today. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Sylvia.